very intense and productive discussions during Prime Minister's ongoing visit. So as you all know, Prime Minister started his visit day before yesterday evening when he arrived. Yesterday's engagement essentially were focused on his meetings with the select CEOs. These were one-to-one meetings. Thereafter, he had a set of engagement with the high achievers from a cross-section of the Australian society. And later in the evening, you all witnessed it live. He addressed the community and diaspora in Sydney, where of course he was joined, and he's very grateful for that. He was joined by the Honourable Prime Minister of Australia, senior ministers from his government, members of the local legislature, senior councillors, other elected officials, and of course leaders from the community. Broadly, if I was to capture the overall sense, thrust of the meeting, I would describe them as very frank, honest to the extent, focused, outcome-driven, and very, very productive in terms of their specific achievements in that sense. In terms of the elements of discussions which the Honourable Prime Minister had today with the Honourable Prime Minister of Australia during his call-on with the Governor-General, and during the call-on by the Leader of Opposition on Honourable Prime Minister of India, I could list roughly 10 or 11 key areas of partnership that the two Prime Ministers spent some time taking, not only just assessment of the progress in those areas over a period of last 1 year, ever since they met first in May last year, but also chalked out what they could focus on in months and years ahead, besides, of course, continuing building on the achievements so far. I would simply highlight the thematic topics under which these were discussed. We don't have time really enough to go into details of each one of them. So there were roughly 10 or 11 areas. First was trade, in which, as you heard both Prime Ministers speak in their press remarks, they focused on the achievement of ECTA between the two countries, but they also expressed a shared aspiration that the discussions on CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, would progress rapidly.
All right, that was the MEA giving a media briefing on Prime Minister's Australia visit. And at this point of time, indeed, it has been a big success with Prime Minister Narendra Modi garnering mega support in Australia. And that was the MEA giving us a briefing of how it has been for the Prime Minister in Australia, a productive meet.